Evening, everyone. It's 5:45, and this is Wednesday, the 28th. This is your closing comment. It's video number 734. And I'm going to remind everyone, if you like the work, please make sure to hit that subscribe button. I also want to make the announcement that I've mentioned it before. I will be here for tomorrow morning's pre-opening comment, and then I will pretty much be gone the rest of the day, having some minor cataract surgery, but there will not be a closing comment most likely, and there will definitely not be a daily note tomorrow night, so I apologize in advance. So for a Fed day, it was kind of interesting. The market did basically nothing. There were no surprises, but there was some incredible movement in some of the prices on the basis of earnings. There were two very distinct, different trends that took place. There was the good news, and it needs no comment, and it was dramatically higher. And that occurred, as you know, in Google last night, and today in Facebook, Apple, and Qualcomm. Then there was the either bad news or also good news with bad action. Texas Instruments, eBay, AMGN, Boeing, and lo and behold, a little one that I really don't watch that had unbelievable numbers but is down. So I'll get to that in a minute. That's Ford, by the way. Okay, so the Dow closed down 164 or 0.5%, NASDAQ down 39 or 0.3%. And meaningless changes on the S&P 500, down 354, Russell up 289, and the transports down 25, none of those more than 0.16%. So very quiet. But what was really interesting was the fact that the market internals were solidly positive. The volume was higher than it has been lately, but the advanced declines were also higher. On the NYSE, we had 1.5 to 1 with a Dow down 165. And on the NASDAQ down 39, we were 1.4 to 1 up. So decent numbers there. So let's get to those earnings. And I'm going to start with the little one, Ford, because the numbers are just so extreme. The street was looking for 21 cents. The number came in at 89 cents, 400% better. The stock is trading at 12.05. That's down 38 cents or 3%. And the reason was the guidance. And it's not that it's Ford in particular, it's the chip shortage. Chips are going to cut next quarter's production by 50% and the second half's production by 10% overall. Those are huge numbers when you look at the current pricing structure for Ford, especially when you look at their trucks and the amount of cars that they have in stock to sell. Normally, there's about a 60-day inventory. Right now, there's a 28-day inventory. And unfortunately, a lot of those are sitting in lots waiting for chips to be installed. The cars and trucks are built. They're just sitting there. The chips are not available. So that's another one of those. This is almost, not the good news, bad action. This was very good news, and it is bad action. But with a really solid reason, unlike, for example, the action that we saw in Texas Instruments, which was a beat top and bottom line. And it was trading down a little this morning, but managed to close at 181.82, down $8.39 or 4.4% on its beat. Boeing was a slight miss, and we kind of knew that was coming. The stock was down a little this morning at 240, down $2 and change. It closed 235 and a half, down over 7 or just under 3%. AMGN was a miss, and we were lower this morning, but not excessively. I mean, we were trading 245 and change, down 979 or 3.8%, but that built all day, and in fact we closed $9 under that at 236.71, down 1842 or 7.2%. eBay was a beat top and bottom, but also had poor guidance. The stock had closed 62.32, up 62 cents. It immediately traded down to 58.10. Last is 58.88, down 282 or 4.6%. Then came the big guys. First of all, we had yesterday's Google, which today closed up $73, 3.2%. So that was about in line with yesterday. Then we had Qualcomm. Qualcomm had closed 136.57, down $1.49. They came in with their beat and their guidance, and the stock immediately popped to 146.24, so $10 higher. And the last there is 143.65, up 579 or 4.2%. Then Facebook. Facebook was higher, closed 307.10, up 353, and when their numbers came out, and they were blockbusters, the stock immediately traded up to 328. The last is 325, and that's up 21 and change or 7%. And then came Apple. Apple's numbers were also great. The numbers on the Mac, the numbers on the phone, all excellent. The stock had closed 133.58, down 81 cents. It immediately popped up to 139.50, and currently is about 136 and a half, and that 136 and a half is up about 220. So, you're going to get a lot of banging around with Apple, the stock that everyone loves to hate. But it's pretty indisputable that their numbers are growing and their margins are growing, and, you can bang it all you want. It's not really going to matter. They also raised their dividend 7%. And, oh, by the way, a $90 billion buyback. That's bigger than half of the stocks in the S&P 500 in and of themselves. So that's where we are. Tomorrow we have Amazon, Merck, McDonald's, and Comcast. And hopefully I will be back for you first thing on Friday morning. All right, chart on the screen. Nat gas. We sold our position, our whole position in the UNG calls, which is the nat gas ETF. We did it for a number of reasons. Not unimportantly was the fact that I'm not going to be here tomorrow, and I didn't want to let the position go. Secondarily, and more importantly, we look right here and we see that we're into the supply, the last place we stopped. And these markets have had a habit of running up to right where the supply is and then just turning down and stopping. So with the lack of follow through to the upside and closing a little closer to the low than the high, I felt that it was the prudent thing to do. It took all day for that to happen, because it was up higher, but it did close up on the day, and I would like to get back in, but I would like to get back in either on a consolidation a couple of days from now or on a pullback to maybe 286 or 287. So we'll see how that goes. The rest of energy was strong, with the oil being up another 92 cents. And on top of that, it was actually up $1 more than that during the day. I think Goldman came out with an $80 price target on crude, which personally I don't believe in. I think that the Saudis and all of the OPEC cheaters would be all over this anywhere above $70. But as you can see, it did work higher, and it has been consolidating in here for the last, since the beginning of March. So we could see another extension up. Let's take a quick gander at the weekly. Same thing, 3 weeks of consolidation. The high last week was 64.38. The high the week before was 63.94, and this week's high today was 53. I'm sorry. So we're in an area that we could easily break out, and it has happened before. We did it here, even though there was a mountain of resistance all the way up from before. We consolidated and broke out and ran basically from 40 to almost 70. We consolidated in here. We consolidated again in here. I was 100% wrong here, looking at $53 as where we broke down from, where we rallied back up to, and where I expected there to be resistance, and it went through that like a knife through butter. It went through 53, and that week closed 57 and change, and within 4 weeks was 67.98. So it wouldn't be unheard of. We kept our position in silver. It was soft this morning and overnight. I guess the expectation was that the higher interest rates were going to hold, and there was some question as to whether the Fed would say anything about tapering. They did not. The gold rallied. It finished down $4.90. I think it had been down about another $15 from there. So that's where we are. Hope everyone had a good day. As I said, we took a 40-cent profit on a 35-cent original cost position. So I'm satisfied with that, and it makes for a good week. Have a good evening. I'll be back in the morning.